Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she's never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at crossed in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle way.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and is seen walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
President. That
you
would
can't?
be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse
President-
of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or
Ah,
at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jamie
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that
the
committee?
seeking of pardons is
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators linking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, there's still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The
Of a
audacity.
president who's so clearly
The
concerned about his own
audacity.
criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Collective Boy asks, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Sally, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. Bet you there's a few in there. And didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can erase it.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about. And even more, the ones I didn't even get to, I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Night.
Hey there, hi there, and ho there. No, I'm not calling you a hoe unless the shoe fits. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel where there's something going on here that there might be some Epstein news coming soon. We'll see what happens with Judicial Watch and this particular development in now that Judicial Watch is getting involved in getting some information about the old Epstein files, which we're still waiting for, tick tock. I wonder, I look, there's a lot of powerful people involved, implicated, whatever. And it's going to happen one of these days. One of these days, in the mortal words of Limp Bizkit, we'll get the information about the Epstein files. But until we do that, they might have to go through some legal maneuvering, which Judicial Watch is taking on. I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's say hi and get this thing going. It's Free for All Friday. Gunfox is burning up the tip jar, which is great. It helps me a lot. And we got some articles from him and a bunch of other stuff to do. But, of course, my first task is to say good morning and hi. So first in the chat today is, I'm not going to say obviously, but most likely Mr. Avocados Diabli, who gets the bell. Whoa, what happened there? That was weak. Hang on a second. Let me fix that. Let's try that again. Yeah, and here he gets the bell. Also, good morning. Now, what happened here? Oh, there's something missing. Is it who is that? Kara Soldier is also here. I got stuff blocking the top of my chat here. Good morning also to Somnambul Nation, Resolute Germ, Mike Savage, Blarg. Also, Green Badger Outdoors, Gunfox 61. It's been a minute, man. I've been checking. Well, this is the first day that I didn't. I've been checking Discord almost daily just to make sure see if you post anything. But dropping Hamilton's left and right. By the way, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Yeah, that's a nice surprise to have you come back, and welcome back. I hope you're well. I know you're probably just busy because there's lots of space stuff going on. Anyway, also good morning, Ms. Wild Wolf. I'm going to say that like that way from now on. Also, Tyre, Alexander, The Scourge. Also, good morning, Attack Alpaca. Amazing Disgrace is in the house. Also, Johnny Boomer Tech, of course, because it's my right hand man. Roasted Opinions is here. Renee Mayette, what's up, my friend? And GDSOB. And is that everybody? That's everybody so far. If you're here and you haven't hit the like button yet, well, what the hell's wrong with you? There's a handful of people here who've hit the like button, but I would like that percentage to be higher than 50%. Let's get 90% viewers to like ratio. Let's do that. Oh, you've closed. Wait a minute. Close the iShack hooker window. What? Wait, hold on. Gunfucks. It said something. Backup links on X. I see those. But I got these links worked this morning just fine. Super busy running 2 new programs. Well, there you go. That's I can understand that. You're in that science field of aerotechnology, and there's probably a lot going on in that right now. So, let's get into it. Well, I had a special day today. I don't have a celebrity birthday, but I do have a special day. Today is, ladies and gentlemen, it is National Pet Day. Now, not to be confused with Hug Your Dog Day, but it is National Pet Day. And so people are posting pictures of pets. These 2 pups trying to get up to the top of a children's toy ladder slide thingy and sliding down. Okay, there they go. Those are cute little puppies, though. I wonder what those are. Oh, you're not going to be able to get up there, though. And this one's having trouble getting up there. Anyway, a happy day for all your pets. Animals don't lie. Animals don't criticize. If animals have moody days, they handle them better than humans do. That's according to Betty White, the late great Betty White. So anyway, and look, be kind to your pets, and they become your friendly companions for a long time. So anyway, happy National Pet Day. All right, that's it of the fluffy stuff, pun intended. Yesterday, there was a helicopter crash in the Hudson River. There were a few people already tried to tie this to Trump, but it's like as if these things never happened before Trump. But anyway, tragic helicopter crash occurred on Thursday in the Hudson River, New York City, resulting in the deaths of 6 individuals. The victims have been identified, and they named them here. The helicopter's propeller detached during the flight, leading to the crash. Authorities are currently investigating the incident to determine the cause of the propeller failure of the crash. And I'm going to go back to some of the reactions on X because some of them are ridiculous and annoying, and that's what we do here. We do the ridiculous and the annoying. But here's the Daily Wire article. 6 people were killed when a Bell 206 helicopter fell from the sky and crashed in the Hudson River in New York City. On Thursday, the Associated Press reported that a video posted on social media showed the chopper falling into the water after it appeared to lose its propellers mid-air. Emergency crews responded to the crash after the fire department said it received a call at 3:17 Eastern Time. Witness told the New York Post that the helicopter split in half in the air before crashing into the water near Pier 40 on West Hudson Street. There was 1 pilot and 5 passengers on board. The passengers were 3 children, a man and a woman, according to NBC4 New York. Law enforcement sources told ABC News that passengers were family members from Spain. The helicopter departed from downtown New York City and was in the air for about 15 minutes before it crashed into the Hudson. Now, and there are a couple different videos of this plane just crashing in the water. It was awful. In fact, that's one of them right. Oh, that's one of the propellers that landed in the water. Yeah, they had video of it. Unfortunately, none of the people survived. Now, and if you want to read the article, you can. It's fascinating though, as I go through this, some of these people are just giving the facts, right? But you get to that, and there's video. There it is. Oh God, it's just. That's the video of it crashing. Some of the people, imagine blaming a helicopter crash on a president. This level of delusion should be studied. So here's Brooklyn. He's gone. Here it is. Brooklyn dipshit Defiant. Breaking yet another deadly aviation incident under the Trump administration as a helicopter carrying 4 people plunged into the Hudson River and fatalities have been reported. It has only been 80 days. Feels like years. This dickhead, can someone break to him that aviation incidents are about half of what they were in the past couple of years? This is just dumb, and I don't even attribute that to the current administration. But now everyone wants to blame every airplane accident on Donald Trump. It's weird. It's just weird. It's weird. Another one here. Call to activism. This dickhead. Breaking. At least 3 people are dead after it's 6 people. After a helicopter crashed in the Hudson River, 5 people were reportedly on board, including children. Why the fuck is this happening so much after Trump became president? Because you're documenting every single incident since Trump became president, which doesn't normally happen. And here's another stupid one, and this is someone on Trump's side. I will never fly in a helicopter. They freak me out. Do you know how rare these crashes are? And do you know why plane crashes and helicopter crashes and train derailments or whatever, why they make news? Because they're rare. When compared to the number of hours of usage, they're rare. Okay, except in military helicopters. I don't know. Anyway, so it's just so weird that these people immediately try to tie this to the current president of the United States. And, now Trump said terrible helicopter crash in the Hudson River. It looks like 6 people, the pilot, 2 adults, and 3 children are no longer with us. The footage of the accident is horrendous. God bless the families and friends of the victims. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy and his talented staff were on it. Announcements to exactly what took place and how will be made shortly. Okay. Well, obviously that seems probably a maintenance issue. If the rotors, the propellers fly off the helicopter, nothing to do with air traffic control, nothing to do with safety regulations. That sounds like a maintenance issue. So I'll leave the link to the Twitter trending topic and the 2 articles I posted there. Now, one thing I have to do also is thank you people who have been sharing the stream. Now, my notifications have a lot more little blue numbers than I used to having, so some of them might be replying to things that I put on X myself, because I've been talking, not talking trash, but I've been talking to a lot of people about this incident in Frisco, Texas, where the young man his family has a GoFundMe for his legal fund, which I think is just fine, even though I think the kid's probably going to end up being found guilty based on the statements and the police reports and the statement he made afterwards, whatever. But his family still, if people want to support his family and help pay for legal expenses rather than bankrupting his family for something he did, I have no problem with that. And I've said that a little more eloquently yesterday. But anyway, thanks to people who shared the stream. Simon Wilkins, I don't know what this is, but it might be causing me a seizure. Hi, Jonathan Peterson. How you doing? So killer stabs child in the chest. Family receives $100K. Well, their legal expenses are going to be way more than $100K. Let's just put it that way. It's a murder trial. And if they are going to, if anything, like I said, I hope they buy the best lawyer in the world. And so when they lose the case, you will know that they can't blame it on having shitty representation. That's the way I see it. Anyway, Roasted Opinions for the Let's Go. Thank you. Then the backup articles from Gunfox, which we'll get to. Resolute Juror with King Kong Bundy. Oh, my goodness. He's a giant man. Somnambule Nation with, I know there's a lot of fuckery on Friday, but don't cyberbully me about my micro eater. What? What the hell is this? And and there's our requisite woo from Ric Flair. And thanks to people who retweeted the show, Ty Alexander, Somnambule Nation, Resolute Germ, and Amazing Disgrace. And then also Ms. Wildwood with the little kid yelling, "Let's go!" I love it. And what is this? Oh, on National Pet Day, we got the dog doing some aerobics. That's hilarious. That is so funny. And Somnambule Nation with a hell yeah with that weird looking chick. Is that Alanis Morissette? No, that's not. I don't know who that is. Anyway, and it's Friday Q&A. And then, oh, jeez. I've seen this before. The dude doing the 40-foot belly flop into a small pond in the middle of the winter, carrying a couple really nasty looking axes, not to be confused with guitars. So what kind of questions will be asked today should be interesting. It's always interesting. So anyway, thanks to everyone who tweeted out the show and shared the stream. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get into, again, Gunfox dropping 3 Hamiltons. In fact, let's do this because some of you may have missed this part of this show. Yeah, it's Hijack the Show Friday. Drop a Hamilton and you get some of the best, well, maybe one of my favorite notification alerts for I can't even talk right now. I'm just going, whoa. Anyway, let's look at the articles. Gunfox dropped 1. China is warning the U.S. over F-16 sales. Apparently, the Chinese Defense Ministry has criticized the United States for selling F-16 fighter craft to Taiwan and the Philippines. The United States stands strong with our allies and partners in the Indo-Pacific, and we continue to take decisive actions to counter threats and enhance economic resilience and advance shared interest, a spokesman for the U.S. State Department told Newsweek. Now, why does this matter? Well, Communist China has vowed to unify with self-ruled Taiwan. It recently conducted a 2-day military exercise around the island, heightening tensions in the Taiwan Strait. China also has territorial disputes with the Philippines over resource-rich South China Sea, where maritime forces from both sides have engaged in standoffs and clashes. Under U.S. maritime containment strategy, Taiwan and the Philippines are part of the first island chain, which forms the first line of defense against China from U.S. strategic perspective. The U.S. has been arming Taiwan and the Philippines. Taipei received the first of 66 new U.S.-built F-16CD Block 70 fighter jets last month. That's a lot of words for the name of one plane. And while Manila's request to purchase 16 F-16C Block 70-72 fighter jets and 4 two-seat D models was approved earlier this month. Senior Colonel Zhang Shongzhang, spokesman for the Chinese Defense Ministry, said in a press briefing on Wednesday that the sale of U.S. fighter aircraft to Taiwan cannot alter the balance of military strength across the Taiwan Strait, much less impede China's reunification. To which Taiwan says, fuck out of here. The spokesman called the U.S. arms sales double standard acts, breaching the 3 China-U.S. joint communiques in which Washington recognized Beijing as the sole legal Chinese government and acknowledged Beijing's position that Taiwan is part of China. So it's somewhat provocative, right? Wait, today is White Women's Favorite Day, National Pet Day. What does that mean? I don't even know. Anyway, so in a statement to Newsweek on Wednesday, a spokesman for the U.S. State Department reiterated that arms sales to Taiwan are consistent with the 1979 Taiwan Relations Act, which requires that Washington provide Taipei with defensive weapons. The U.S. will continue to provide Taiwan defensive articles and services to support its self-defense capabilities commensurate with the threat Taiwan faces, said the spokesman. And there's a little more in the article, but that's where we're going to go. So anyway, China's upset. Between trade and this is probably, are we? Well, let's just say this.
China is asshole.
Moving on. Now this one, Gunfox also sent about the first Arctic liquid natural gas carrier, part of the Russian Shadow Fleet, heads to Chinese shipyard for possible maintenance. What? After more than 9 months at sea, sanctioned liquid natural gas carrier East Energy, formerly known as Asia Energy, has pulled into the Zhejiang-based shipyard, likely to undergo maintenance for repairs. So this is one of the embargoed ships, apparently, or sanctioned ships, where they're not supposed to be able to sell their shit. Hello, K-Shaw. What's up? I see you. East Energy, part of Russia's emergency LNG Shadow Fleet, carrying liquefied gas from the sanctioned Arctic LNG-2 mega project. It's one of 5 vessels loading cargo in the Arctic gas plant during a 3-month period. Beginning in August 2024, another sanctioned LNG carrier, the ice-capable Arc-7 Christopher de Margerie, spent several months at the Zhejiang facility last summer, reportedly to repair damage to its hull, azimuthing propulsion units, and its N2 nitrogen system. Sources say that the Christopher de Margerie systems remain compromised nearly a year later. Chartered to Novatek's Yamal project, the vessel has not transported liquid natural gas since June of last year and continues to idle in the Barents and Kara Sea. Since picking up the first cargo from Arctic LNG-2 on August 11, 2024, and a subsequent one on September 14th, East Energy has been at anchor in oh my God, these names. Nakhodka Bay in Russia's Far East, or circling in the waters of the adjacent sea to Japan. It unloaded parts of its cargo into a floating storage barge, Karyuk, in Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula in February of 2025. So anyway, so are these the ones that are they're not able to sell it because they're sanctioned? I don't know. Lack of regular inspections and poor maintenance of Russia's global shadow fleet has become an increased safety issue, with several international agencies warning of the risk. The country operates hundreds of so-called dark vessels outside the accepted maritime safety standards. In contrast to the fleet of aging oil tankers, Russia's LNG shadow fleet consists of relatively modern vessels. East Energy is from 2002, with the other sanctioned LNG carriers consisting of a mix of older and newer vessels, and they just name those too. But their more complex technical systems also make them more challenging to maintain than oil tankers. So these could be a problem. But that's a really weird looking ship, isn't it? That's kind of wild. All right, and then the third article Gunfox gave me is the United States reverses course on proposed port fees for Chinese ships. The United States won't charge Chinese ships the full slate of proposed port fees for using American ports, and those fees won't be cumulative. The United States Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, at a hearing on the Senate Finance Committee Tuesday, told lawmakers that the fees, which are supposed to help jumpstart a revival of U.S. shipbuilding, prompted overwhelming opposition from across the shipping industry. Stakeholders said port charges as high as $1.5 million per ship per call could raise container rates, snarl services, and lead to ocean lines eliminating services to smaller ports. Greer said he had met with some stakeholders, Reuters reported. They're not all going to be implemented. They're not all going to be stacked, Greer said. The fee was proposed in February after an investigation by the USTR found China pressed unfair trade practices as it sought to dominate global container shipping and shipbuilding. Port charges could still be implemented by November after further study, the news reported, quoting unidentified sources. So that won't be adding to the cost of your cheaply made Chinese toys. No. All right. Let's move on to some of the other things that are trending in the United States. Florida, the state, these are just more news items. Florida has charged Ryan Routh in Trump assassination attempt. Florida Attorney General James Untermeyer has announced charges against Ryan Routh for attempting to assassinate then-President candidate Donald J. Trump on September 15, 2024 at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. Routh faces charges of attempted first-degree murder and terrorism. The investigation faced delays due to initial resistance from the federal government, but cooperation improved following the appointment of a new leadership in the FBI and the U.S. Attorney General's office. So, looks like Mr. Routh will be heading to court. There you go. That's tough. All right, then let's see what else. Oh, the House yesterday, they passed this bill requiring people to, it's called what's the act called? The SAVE Act, requiring people to prove citizenship to register to vote. Just because there has been some rumors that maybe there's some people who are not citizens who've been voting in our elections. And the Democrats are really mad about it because what it requires is that people to register to vote must, show some form of proof of citizenship, birth certificates or real ID or passports or naturalization papers or whatever when they register to vote. And the Democrats don't like this. They're saying it's voter suppression. And because that they're saying, and the talking point from Democrats, and you're going to hear it all over the place, is that they're going to disenfranchise 70 million American women and black people, of course, because, us black folks are just too stupid to get an ID. But especially 70 million women in America won't be able to vote because if they change their name doesn't match their birth certificate anymore. And I was so confused about this because it used to be just black people who were too stupid to get an ID to vote. But now they're saying married women are too stupid to get an ID to vote. And I was thinking to myself, Democrats should be celebrating this. If they think it's voter suppression of married women, well, married women vote for Republicans a lot. So is that what they're saying? But no, they're just saying, and a couple of things that, I know that this Real ID thing, Real ID, that's the thing that's trending. That because of the name change, most women make. Yeah, no, I know. But, but that just makes it sound like women are stupid. They're not. When they change your names, you have to use your ID to get the passport. You got to use your ID, your birth certificate. This makes no sense. And plus, there's provision in the law about this where each state needs to administer it in a way that doesn't, cause an undue burden on people. So again, Kira Davis here. So first, black people were too dumb and ignorant to get an ID, and now it's women who are too dumb and ignorant. It's almost like the Democrat thinks everyone is dumb and ignorant. Yeah, they do. They just think people can't do this stuff. And here's Representative Mary Miller, who's kind of poo-pooing this. She's a Republican. Here's what she says about it.
All we hear are the Democrats sharing their concerns that rural Americans, women, and people of color are not capable of getting an ID. This is insulting, condescending,
it really
and an
is.
untrue argument. You need an ID for most everything else in daily life. Maybe the Democrats should quit wasting so much time in our public schools indoctrinating our children and instead teach them real-life skills such as reading, civics, and how to get an ID.
And look, most of the states that have had voter ID laws, the demographics which Democrats say it would impede them so badly, their voting habits increased after voter ID laws. That's just crazy. I don't know how that could happen. So anyway, here's the story on that from Breitbart. Now again, Breitbart's a right-wing source. I'm not denying that. Chip Roy's SAVE Act requiring proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections passes the House. Now we'll see if it passes the Senate. Look, Democrats still have that filibuster thing they can do in the Senate, but this is a very popular measure. Chip Roy's Republican of Texas Safeguard America Voter Eligibility, also known as SAVE Act, cleared the House of Representatives on Thursday. The House voted in favor of the SAVE Act requiring proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections in a 220 to 208 vote. All Republicans present voted in support of the SAVE Act, but it was largely passed on partisan lines, as just 4 Democrats voted in favor alongside them. The SAVE Act effectively amends the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. Now, the measure itself lists several forms of valid identification to prove citizenship. A form identification issued consistent with the requirements of the Real ID Act of 2005 indicates that the applicant is a citizen of the United States, namely a valid U.S. passport, a U.S. military ID card alongside military record of service showing that the applicant's place of birth was in the United States, a valid government-issued photo ID showcasing that the individual was born in the United States, and a birth certificate issued by a state. Despite ridiculous attacks and purposeful misinformation spread about the bill, I am pleased to see that the House of Representatives has once again passed the SAVE Act on a bipartisan basis to ensure only U.S. citizens vote in federal elections, Roy said of the measure passing through the House. And then he thanked some different people, Speaker Johnson and other people who helped push that through, Senator Mike Lee, who are partnering in the effort. And he said, I'm grateful that my colleagues answered the call and passed the SAVE Act. He continued describing this as the critical first step to ensure that we maintain election integrity throughout our country. Now, what's fascinating about this? We are one of the very few countries in the Western world, and in the world for that matter, that doesn't require ID to vote, or has it up to now. So it's really crazy. So lots of people are mad about it, but I'm not. I'm just not. Of course, I just got my real ID last year. So other things happened in Washington. Senate debates daylight savings time. Cruz and Ted Cruz and Rick Scott are pushing what they're calling lock the clock. The U.S. Senate is currently debating the biannual clock changes for daylight savings time, with Senator Rick Scott pushing for the Sunshine Protection Act to make daylight savings time permanent. Proponents argue that this would simplify life for Americans. However, there is opposition favoring permanent standard time, citing benefits like alignment with natural light cycles for improved health, particularly sleep and safety. Critics of permanent daylight saving times recall its past implementation issues and emphasize the advantages of morning light for mood and productivity. The debate encompasses considerations of health, economic productivity, and life convenience, which brings me to creating a quick poll here. Let's see. We'll just unpin this message now. Let's do a little poll in the chat. And I'll just mirror the one that's here on X. Oops, not Q&A. Here you go. Which would you prefer? Keep changing the... Oops. And I know some of you who don't live in the U.S. don't deal with this, but anyway. Damn it. The clock. Always daylight saving time, or always standard time. Here, I'll just... All right. There is the poll. Which do you prefer on the old calendar there? All right. Let's see here. Wicked good production. Are you making fun of me? Are you making fun of me? All right, moving on. Also, here's something. Now, the subhead of open... What did I say? Open them all? What did I say? Open it up? What's the subhead called today? Let's go back to this thing here. Yeah, Open It Up edition. It's the Open It Up edition of the Morning Night Live, because there's some things that need to be open. First of all, apparently the Russiagate binder, whatever, Crossfire Hurricane files have been made public. The investigation into President Trump and all the Russiagate stuff. The Federalist has released a collection of documents known as the Russiagate binder, which consists of 7 files totaling hundreds of pages related to the FBI's 2016 investigation into alleged ties between Russia and the Trump campaign, known as Crossfire Hurricane. These documents have been made available to the public for review on the Federalist Scribity, whatever that is, page. The release includes sensitive raw intelligence on Russian agents and has been declassified by the FBI. Good morning, Selected Boy, by the way. And my special can acid on the honorable mention list of favorite Canadians. So here, let's see. Is this on, this might even have the links here. Let's see. One of two. Oh, here, I'll put a separate link for these files, or I'll put Sean Davis's link where he describes this. It's in a tweet thread here. But so here it is. The Federalist has obtained the Russiagate binder, which consists of 7 separate files totaling hundreds of pages. In the interest of full transparency and disclosure, we are making the documents available for everyone to review. And then he gives links to all of the documents. And someone saying big props to the Federalist for releasing the Russiagate binder instead of hoarding it for exclusives. Can't think of a single legacy outlet that would have done the same. Yeah, kudos to them. This becomes crowdsourcing. I'm sure we're going to find a lot of crazy information in those. And the idea that we should be opening them up is 100% correct. Wait, did you see today that peanut butter sales are 500% higher today? What? Wait, what is going on? What does that mean? Peanut butter sales? Okay, you guys are talking about some crazy stuff in here. Many countries require voters dip fingertip in ink to prevent multiple voting. Yeah, that's what they did when Iraq had votes. They had to dip their finger in ink, permanent ink. So there you go. All right. Something's going on in my chat. I have no idea. All right. Oh wait, let's kick that back to the topic. So anyway, if you want to check out those documents, they're in the links today. Also, apparently the United States and Panama has signed a deal to secure the Panama Canal. You know, there's been a kind of a dust up between, well, Trump was bitching about the Panama Canal and how China was taking it over. Hello, Jaeger Pony, how you doing? My favorite Canadian. We're plotting against you with peanut butter. Well, that would take. Why would peanut butter? Y'all must be buying a lot of peanut butter because there's only a few of you here. Anyway, the United States has signed historic agreements with Panama aimed at securing the Panama Canal. These agreements include a framework for U.S. vessels to have priority passage through the canal and a memorandum of understanding allowing U.S. troops to be stationed at Fort Sherman. The deal also involves establishing a joint naval and air station with Panama, focusing on countering Chinese influence in the region. These arrangements mark a significant step in U.S.-Panama relations. So here is Pete Hegseth talking about that with Donald Trump by his side. Here's the clip that everyone's posting.
Mr. President, we just got back from Panama last night.
Continue, please. What the hell went there?
We were at the Panama Canal with their Southcom commander ships, F-18s, troops, and signed a couple of historic deals. One which is with the Panama Canal Authority, a framework for U.S. vessels, first and free through the Panama Canal. And then also a memorandum of understanding with their security minister.
Okay. Why this video is struggling, I don't know, but you get the idea.
Presence of U.S. troops. Fort Sherman is an old U.S. base there, as well as their naval station and air station, jointly with Panama to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them.
All right. Well, whatever's going on with that video, very interesting that they're doing that. Some people, oh, and of course, Aaron Rupar, we're taking back the canal. Trump, we moved a lot of troops to Panama. And just different people reacting to this. Not a lot of craziness, but why we've moved a lot of troops to Panama because we have a base there. That's why. So people are questioning that. Moving on, in the New York Post today, China hits back on the United States by raising tariffs on the U.S. goods from 84% to 125%. We saw that yesterday. China announced countermeasures on Friday, raising tariffs on U.S. goods from 84% to 125% starting Saturday. The U.S. and China have escalated trade wars by raising tariffs, even as U.S. President Donald Trump hit a pause on tariffs for other countries. Trump's universal tariffs on China total 145%. When Trump announced Wednesday that China faced 125% tariffs, he did not include a 20% tariff on China. It tied to its role in fentanyl production. The U.S. alternately raising abnormally high tariffs on China has become a numbers game, which has no practical economic significance and will become a joke in the history of the world economy, a Commerce Ministry spokesman said in a statement announcing the countermeasure from China. So that's continuing even as we have paused our tariff. What do you call it? Tariff kerfluffle? It's a tariff kerfluffle. And it's paused with everybody else. And speaking of which, the EU has also paused the tariff fight with Trump in a similar fashion. The European Union is holding off on retaliating against U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs for 90 days in hopes that a deal can be worked out with President Donald Trump. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced the move Thursday after President Trump announced a pause on some tariffs to give time for negotiations. And that's the other thing. All those people, oh, he caved. No, he paused so he can negotiate the people who want to negotiate it. That's what he did. And so there you go. European Union seems to be taking the cue and doing the same. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of which, a Swiss pharmacy company has announced $23 billion investment in the U.S. days after Trump pledged a major tariff on drug imports. The pharmaceutical company Novartis announced plan to build 7 facilities in the United States and expand others in a $23 billion investment over 5 years on the heels of President Donald Trump's announcement of forthcoming tariffs on imported drugs. So, yeah, it may be a good idea to have the drugs that are here to help people produced here instead of in China or even in Switzerland. But I'm not so worried about the Swiss, but I know we have a lot of there's a lot of plants in China that the drug companies have moved facilities to, and I just don't know if I want them coming from there. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's good news. I don't need to read the whole article. Also, apparently, a Florida school has dumped a teacher who used students' trans name without the parents' permission. Now, this is, I don't know if I would say refreshing, because some places like California or even here in Minnesota, they don't have to tell your parents you're using the kid's trans name. A Florida teacher's contract will not be renewed after she was accused of using a student's preferred name in violation of the state's law. Brevard Public Schools said the teacher who worked at Satellite High School had allegedly been calling a young person by their preferred name but did not have parental permission to do so, WESH reported on Thursday, noting the parent contacted the school's leadership over the issue. This directly violates state law and the district's standardized process for written parental consent, the district stated. District leaders said they investigated the issue, and based on the teacher's own admission that she knowingly did not comply with state statute, she received a letter of reprimand. Teachers, like all employees, are expected to follow the law. The teacher's current contract reportedly expires in May, and BPS and state officials will review her teaching certificate. Therefore, the district decided not to renew the annual contract until the issue is resolved with the state. Let's see. And then they identified the teacher. It doesn't matter what her name is. So, yeah, you got to follow the law. To be fair, if I have a nickname like Tyre and others call me that, would that be a violation? No, this is one of those social transitioning issues. Because Marty's a nickname for me, but all my teachers call me Marty. But my parents didn't care because my parents called me Marty. So if you have family that call you Tyre and your family's like, okay, that's cool, then you can do that. But if you're, rather than be Tyre, they called you Melissa and had a closet where you could pick out a new skirt, then the parents might need to be notified of that. So there you go. Let's see. Oh, this is messed up. I have the articles in the wrong order. Let's do this one, and then we'll do the other two. A high school athlete has sued the state of California after losing her track spot to a trans boy. Now, this is one. This is gonna be. Unfortunately, this is in California. I'm not so sure that. Unless it's in federal court. Anyway, a female athlete is now suing the state of California after her school replaced her on her high school's varsity cross-country team with a biological boy who, quote, identified, end quote, as a girl. Taylor Starling, a 16-year-old student at Martin Luther King High School in Riverside, California, said she was understandably upset when she found out she lost her spot on the team to a male who had an impossible physical advantage over her, saying she felt like her hard work was being cast aside because she was a girl. Here she is earlier this month speaking before state lawmakers about her experience. How long is this?
Good morning, members of the committee. My name...
We won't watch the whole thing. Anyway, she said, I felt angry when I was removed from my varsity team because I knew the requirements were changed for him because he is transgender. I felt like my sacrifice, hard work, and dedication didn't matter to my school administrators because I am a girl. It was easy for them to push me aside, and that hurt, Starling told Fox News Digital. So she's suing. In November, Starling and her family, along with her teammate Caitlin Slavin, filed suit against the Riverside Unified School District. Now she's added California Attorney General Rob Bonta to the lawsuit after President Donald Trump signed an executive order in February mandating that federally funded schools permit athletes to compete on teams using sex-specific spaces in keeping with their biological gender and not their identity. It doesn't seem to... I don't know what court she's suing in. I'm not sure. Plus, I don't know, even though the president gave that executive order and saying that it would affect funding for schools, I don't know that it's a law. But, so it'll be interesting to see if this case goes anywhere in California. But it's in the news, so that's what we do. Daily Wire, White House says Trump already received specific trade offers from over 15 countries. Let's see. White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said on Thursday that more than 15 nations have already come forward with specific trade deals offers as President Donald Trump's 90-day pause on tariff for most countries takes effect. In an interview with Fox Friends, Hassett said that the Trump administration has offers on the table for more than 15 countries, as the White House says that more than 75 nations are seeking to hash out trade deals to avoid the president's steep tariffs. So, is that the art of the deal? Is that what the intention of the tariff announcements were, to get people to the table and maybe reset some of the conditions they had for trade with some of these countries that were not favorable to the U.S.? Well, it seems like it might be working. So, sorry, Democrats. I mean, you've been bitching all week. Also, this was interesting. Robert Kennedy Jr. sets tight deadline to announce cause of autism epidemic. They're going to do a massive study and testing and research to find out what's causing autism, involving hundreds of scientists from around the world. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said on Thursday that his department will know what is causing the autism epidemic by September. A CDC study from 2020 found that 1 in 36 children in the United States have been diagnosed with autism. Kennedy, while speaking to President Donald Trump about the announcement, said that now 1 in 31 children are diagnosed with the disorder, they just said that twice. Anyway, the latest rates, the autism rates have gone from 1 in 31 from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid, RFK said to Trump. At your direction, we've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we will be able to eliminate those exposures. I hope so. So, yeah, and then it just goes into more about the background on this particular issue. So there you go. It was the MMR. It could be. It could be all kinds of things. It could be the diet that we eat in the United States. There's so many possibilities, and we just hope that. Or it could be, remember our baby formula here. If people use formula, there's things in that baby formula that probably shouldn't be going into babies' bodies too. There's all kinds of reasons it could be. So, I hope they do discover what it is, and with specificity. That would be awesome. Jasmine Crockett, again, making the rounds. Representative Jasmine Crockett recently stated that the unaffordability of homes and groceries is a result of failed immigration policies, specifically citing deportations as a contributing factor. Now, and then here, let me let her say it in only the way only she can, in her brilliance. And then I have a really quick question that'll probably shore up why she's an idiot. Here we go.
Realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but
I don't know why I'm having trouble with the video today. Let's try it this way. Hang on.
We've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the.
Well, that's a bad pause. Oh, good Lord. Let's try this one.
Can't
Okay, her point that she's making here.
afford
She said if you're having a hard time affording a home or affording groceries, it's a result of failed immigration policies because of the deportations. Now, I just gotta wonder when she says that. What are we, 80 days in the Trump administration? And are you saying that the Trump deportations are the reason people can't afford groceries and homes? Because they haven't been around long enough to take any effect. So then are you saying it was because of the Biden administration? Why, when, inflation blew up exponentially? I'm just trying to figure this out. Connect the dots. You cannot afford a home or groceries because of failed immigration policies. Really? She is she's smarter than she sounds, but she doesn't try very hard to sound smarter than she comes off. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It means that, anyway, you get the point. It's almost time for Q&A. Douglas Murray and what's his name? Dave Smith, the comedian. I guess they had a debate about debates and who's smart and whatnot. I didn't watch it, but there's 3 hours of Joe Rogan entertainment if you want to watch it. I don't even have a link for it. I don't even know I put it up here other than it was trending very high. People talking about this debate between Douglas Murray and Dave Smith. So, but here's, someone says this is the debate in a nutshell. First, here's a summary. Murray and Dave. Douglas, people will claim to be an expert, then hide behind I'm just a comedian when they're challenged. Dave Smith, I never claimed to be an expert. Douglas, you see, Joe, this is the problem. When people who aren't experts talk about this stuff. Joe, are you saying only experts are allowed to talk about this stuff? Douglas, no, you don't need to be an expert to talk about this stuff. Repeat those quotes 68 times and you basically listen to the first 40 minutes of the show. So they're having an argument about whether or not Dave Smith being comedian qualifies him to talk about the stuff he talks about. I think because they spend most of the time, I think, talking about Israel and the Palestinians and all that or something. I don't know. But it's trending, and that's what you get. That's it in a nutshell. All right. And again, here it is. During a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Douglas Murray and Dave Smith engaged in a debate centered around the topic of trusting the experts. The discussion highlighted differing views. Look, I'm not so big on that appeal to authority thing anyway. There are certain things that I could talk to experts about where I probably know more than the expert. But so the appeal to authority, I have a piece of paper on my wall that says I am an expert in this. Yeah, you're an expert based on the indoctrination you got wherever you got that piece of paper. But real world stuff, I'm an expert at with 61 years of experience. So anyway, I always laugh about that because it's the same thing in some jobs where you have someone who's been around for 40 years who knows way more than the kid 2 years out of Harvard. It's like, yeah, but you may have graduated from Harvard, but you haven't done this for 40 years and know all the nuances. So anyway, you had to turn it off. I couldn't bear listening to that pompous butt burglar talk down to Dave. Oh, snap. Okay. Thank you, Jethro Hedower. I read that out loud, didn't I? Okay. So anyway, if you're interested, you can find it in the links. Now, here's some news. Another open it up part, right? Judicial Watch has filed a lawsuit against the Department of Justice for records regarding Jeffrey Epstein, including any records on the identities of clients or associates of Epstein. Oh, that's long overdue. because we were supposed to get more in the Epstein files. We haven't heard much from that lately. Judicial Watch sued the DOJ after it failed to adequately respond to 4 separate FOIA requests for records concerning Jeffrey Epstein, including specific requests for records depicting the identities of clients or associates of Jeffrey Epstein. Simply put, the Justice Department needs to respond to public demands for transparency under law and release the Epstein files under the Freedom of Information Act. So if you want to read the entire article from Judicial Watch, what they need, it's right here in the links. There you go. And another, open it up. This question in the Federalist: why is Trump's DOJ hiding an FBI informant's deposition on the Oklahoma City bombing from way back when? An attorney in Utah is working to unearth the truth through his ongoing lawsuit for surveillance footage of the Oklahoma City bombing. And for some reason, they're stalling information on this. Now, has this stuff been declassified too? After April 19th, 1995, Oklahoma City bombing, the FBI launched a massive manhunt for a mystery accomplice to Timothy McVeigh, known as John Doe 2, only later to claim that he never existed and that McVeigh largely acted alone. Nearly 30 years later, an attorney in Utah named Jesse Trentatu is still working to unearth the truth, though, through his ongoing Freedom of Information Act lawsuit for surveillance footage of the blast. According to FBI and Secret Service records, the footage shows McVeigh with another unidentified subject. Since McVeigh's other known accomplice, Terry Nichols, was confirmed to have been in Kansas on April 19th, John Doe 2's identity remains subject of debate. Credible research have made the case that he may have been an undercover informant or even an agent. So this guy's been going through this FOIA request for 17 years, and even the current administration has been reluctant to give him any information. So I say open it up. Again, that's the theme of the day. Open it up. All right. Despite the fact that there are a couple more articles open, let's see. And also the links to the aggregator links today, I'm going to quit there and start with Friday Q&A because, it's just about time. Oh, gosh. Senator John Kennedy. Well, here, before we do that, this is important. This is important to me. Senator John Kennedy, who I sometimes fondly refer to as Foghorn Leghorn, but also one of my favorite questioners in Senate confirmation hearings, apparently had a nice little zinger for the new Democratic Party leader, AOC, as only he can do. So here it is. Let's see. Senator Kennedy has one of the best one-liner of the month. So we'll do this, and then we'll get to Friday Q&A. Here it is. Senator John Kennedy. Let's see, is this it?
What do you think of the new leadership, Jasmine, AOC, and Bernie?
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. Our plan for dealing...
Okay, wait, hold on. Oh my gosh, she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. Okay, there you go. All right, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is time for the best part of the week, Friday Q and A. It's that time. I'm going to drop the results of the poll, by the way. Looks like people say they'd prefer always standard time with changing the clock in second, daylight saving times in third. Really? I guess there you go. I could see staying on standard time. Let's see. Would it be darker at night? It'd be lighter. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Thank you for participating in the poll. And let's see. 27 people, 19 likes. Fix that, please. All right, Friday Q&A. Let's get it on. First question of the day comes from Kara Soldier, who asked, if you had the chance to eat a minotaur or a pig orc, would you? And what would be your sides? Aren't those both are those both like half human kind of things? I don't know let me just say my answer would be no. I don't think so. That's too weird. Gunfox asks, do you know which costs more, a B-2 or an SLS launch? Answer, SLS at $4.2 billion per launch. A B-2 costs $2 billion for launch. Maybe you can explain in the chat what those are. I have no idea. I don't know the difference. So I want to know why P-Doc hasn't covered the recent Kash Patel happenings. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm not sure. What's going on with Kash Patel? Maybe you can either drop me a link in my an X, or you can email me at pdog9@gmail.com. I don't know what you're talking about. And maybe if I don't know, that's weird if I don't know about it. He's been removed from acting director of the ATF. Oh, I don't know. Isn't he of the ATF? I didn't even know he was acting director of the ATF. Oh, because didn't someone from the ATF quit? I have no idea, but if you have any details, again, send me that to me. All right, Avocados Diablo asks, do you think there's a link between the removal of phone booths and college kids losing their minds are related, since they no longer have them to stuff 40 people in at a time like they used to? Well, yeah, sure. That's also related to the fact that they all are glued to phones all the time. Wraith Mix asks, can you look up Michael Bullock of Wisconsin on the repository? He MO'd my kids and now over 4 years sees trail September. I'm not sure what this means. Am I wrong for being as mad I am? Well, let's see what this is first. I don't know what. Let's see. Michael Bullock, Wisconsin. I don't know what I'm getting into here. There's nothing. I don't know what this means, Brathix, but thanks for asking the question. There's no news. Oh, wait. Oh, is this from Encanto County? This is old news. If this is what I'm thinking here. Encanto County fled before a child sexual assault trial captured in Texas. Is this who you're talking about? So they found him in Texas, accused of repeated assault of a child and related crimes. But that's now he's currently waiting extradition in Arkansas County, Texas. I don't know if this is the same one you're talking about. If you have more, send me something about that. I don't know what you're talking about here. Avocados Diablo asks, why was that even a thing anyways, stuffing massive amounts of people into a phone booth? Because the same reason they stuffed them into Volkswagens, they were bored and they didn't have video games and social media. Ms. Wildwolf asks, what is the most expensive trip you have taken? Definitely the river cruise that we did on the Danube River a couple years ago with Viking Cruises. That was by far the most expensive trip we ever taken. And my gosh, it was so amazing. That was just phenomenal. We had a special deal to get that one done in the first place. But yeah, that was definitely the most expensive. Avocados Diablo says, have you ever woke up to find yourself hogtied in the bed of a pickup truck, driven by a midget redneck dressed like Minnie Pearl in the drive-thru of a Hardee's? You know, Avocados Diabli, you ask a lot of weird questions, and that's cool. I like it because it's funny. But this might be the first time ever that I could closely almost answer yes. It was a harrowing experience too, especially the hat that the midget was wearing. One of those, the mini pro wears those hats. Yeah, that was weird. Ty Alexander asks, states, the Ice Shack Hooker Army needs a new commander to lead them into battle against the anti-horror army. Who do you nominate for that coveted position, the Ice Shack Hooker position? Here's the thing. I am not familiar with the Ice Shack Hookers, only in legend and lore. But I would assume that there's some OnlyFans model out there that would be very appropriate to lead the Ice Shack Hooker army against the anti-horror army. So I just don't know any. I don't know any OnlyFans models either. So I'm kind of at a loss here. Roasted Opinion inquires. A lot of folks in our part of Arkansas took damage from the storms last week. Would you mind thanking the American Red Cross for their help and remind folks to donate to them if they want to help? Yes, and I'll just say that right now. The Red Cross does good work, and so let's thank them. And if you have an opportunity to donate to them, I would highly encourage it. Avocados Diabli asks, what type of snack chip would make the best murder weapon? Probably. Now, here's the problem. It's not exactly a chip, but it is a snack food. You know those pretzels you get? And usually pretzels are tied in a nice little twisty thingy, right? Or they're circles or whatever. But you know those long pretzels? Like they're long, just like they look like a fat pencil. They're made in that shape. If you cut that off just at the right angle, it would make a great stabbing device. Not that I've ever thought about that. It's just, Let's see. Roasted Opinions ask, do you think that the Trump isolation strategy he's using against West Taiwan will work? Against West Taiwan. Oh, West Taiwan. China.
China is asshole.
Look, it seems as though with this pause he's done with everyone but China, it may push. China is going to want to try to get rid of a lot of stuff. We talked about this yesterday, how they may be dumping cheap goods into the world. But I think everybody probably is sick of China as far as that goes. So it's hard to say. I think it might. Lord Stanhope asks, if two vegans have a fight, is it called a beef? That's a dad joke. That's a dad joke. Nah, it's called a stalk, like a stalk of celery. Avocados Diabli asks, have you seen the people losing their shit over the claim that the SAVE Act would keep women from voting? I have, and it's nonsense, and it's funny. Also, what's funny about that, the Democratic talking point on that is that they will disenfranchise 70 million women. And as if not a single one of the 70 million married women in the United States, married women, are who have changed their names, as if none of them, not one, none of them would be able to go and get this ID and birth certificate thing worked out. Now, my wife, when we got, well, I guess I'm not a good example because her name was already the same as mine. Her last name was. We're not related though. But, for example, my daughter got married, and So her birth certificate doesn't match her current license because she changed her name. But lo and behold, her passport does. Now, how the hell did she get a passport if her birth certificate name doesn't match her married name? It's amazing. So there you go. Yes, I'm sure we're not related. Positive. Okay. So yeah, no, it's just stupid. Roast Opinion asks, China's pissed off that we are selling our decades-old gear to Taiwan because it's still as good or better than their newest gear. Oh, exactly. Exactly. Our F-16s are still probably better than their best fighter jet. Lord Stand-Up says, if China and Russia unite against America, should we feel afraid or feel pity for them? I think they might have more problems cooperating with each other than they would cooperate with us. I don't know. I feel afraid. Certainly it'd be a concern because their combined strength might rival ours, particularly militarily. Economically, or they're already trying to do it economically with the BRICS. They're already trying to do that. We'll have to see how that works out. We should be concerned. I don't know if afraid's the word, but concerned certainly. Avocado Ciali asks, if you had Ron Howard's power from that Twilight Zone where he could send people to the cornfield, would you abuse it? I don't know that I've seen that episode of the Twilight Zone. Was he still pretty young then? And was the cornfield like a Children of the Corn cornfield, or was it like a Field of Dreams cornfield? Because if it was a Field of Dreams cornfield, I would send a lot of people there, and then I would walk there myself, and we'd go out and play some baseball. But then if it's the Children of the Corn cornfield, well, then I'd be that would be really rude. Okay, Lord Stand-Up asks, is there such thing as a pretentious liquor? There's a joke in there somewhere. A pretentious liquor. Huh. That would be extra special. Stop it. Oh, Cannon Hotep's in the house. What up, Cannon? A pretentious liquor, sure. Like, what's that? There's some Louis XIV something that's pretentious, you know. Or here's one: anything like that's super old, like and like for example, if someone had a bottle of 150-year-old Grand Marnier, that could be considered pretentious. Although my friends and I once bought one of those just to see what it tastes like. We went and we found one that you could buy, and we bought it, and then our other friend broke the bottle. But yeah, certainly there's certain pretentious liquors. Somnambul Nation asks, do you think Krav Maga will be endorsed by the Trump administration as the USA's official martial art? I'm going to just say no. There is no official martial art of the United States, but I get it. That's a Russia joke, isn't it? Ty Alexander asks, if one of the Abrahaming attempts happened in a deep blue state and the Boother was captured, do you think they would prosecute? Wait, I'm not sure what you mean here. If one of the Abrahaming attempts happened. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. It took me a minute. I got you. If one of those happened in a deep blue state and the Boother was captured, do you think they would prosecute? I think they would have to. And look, here's the thing. There would be, if not by the state, a federal prosecution. I think they would find a way. So, anyway. Lord Stone. Oh, I see. You were in the wrong chat. Avocado Ciali, have you seen that supposedly babies haven't even yet been born, been getting paid unemployment benefits. You know, I had a link in that today and I skipped it. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, somewhere. Where was that? Unemployment. I mean, and if that's true, how the hell does that happen? Here it is. Breaking Secretary of Labor. Here it is. Breaking Secretary of Labor and DOJ uncover over $400 million in unemployment insurance fraud. We have almost 25,000 people over 115 years old who are collecting $59 million. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old have collected fraudulent payments of $254 million. Lastly, 10,000 people who have not been born yet, 15 years into the future, $69 million, and they haven't been born yet. I've got, now, a grain of salt here is going to be, is this antiquated government computing systems that cause this, kind of like with the Social Security thing, or is it actually happening?
Unemployment insurance fraud. That trust needs to be whole for the American people. When we need it for who deserves it. That's not what we're seeing. And the numbers that we saw last night, again, exposed by our partners at DOJ, at the Department of Labor. Since 2020, over $400 million of payments have gone out already. And when you hear these numbers, apparently in the United States, we have over almost 25,000 people who are over 115 years old who are collecting $59 million that we have sent out to people. Talk about fraudulent behavior.
The other problem here is, don't unemployment benefits usually come from the states? So I don't know. I'm until I get more details on that, I'm skeptical. All right, let's see. Where are we at here? Avocado Diablo says, how much would you pay for a celebrity charity track featuring a medley of 2 Live Crew songs? Only if Martha Stewart, I was going to say David Niven, but he's been dead for years. Martha Stewart and... Is Ned Beatty still alive? Ned Beatty, if only if they were on the track. Lord Stanhope asks, how much is too much to spend on a bottle? Bottle of what? I don't know. How much is too much to spend on a bottle? A bottle of what? It depends. If there's a difference between a bottle of 25-year-old scotch or bourbon and a bottle of, rot gut bar rail stuff. I don't know. So, Gunfox asks, for some white women today is their favorite day. In other news, peanut butter sales jumped 500% today. I know that's what you were talking about, peanut butter. Man, you are nasty. Hey, turn that off. You are nasty. You are nasty. Stop. Lord Stanhope says, you finally you finally fulfilled your lifelong dream of owning a deli. What's the first sandwich you make yourself, and what's on the side? Oh, Lord, it would be, you ever heard of Cat's Deli in New York City? They make those giant Reubens. I'd make myself a big ass Reuben, lots of sour cream, lots of Thousand Island dressing, lots of Swiss cheese, big thick old rye bread, and the side would just be a little bit of potato salad. I don't know why potato salad, just some potato salad. There you go. Avocado Diablo, peanut butter, pet day, women. Do you get what Gunfox was implying now? Yes, I got it. It's nasty and you shouldn't be talking about that. Turn that off. That's not, no. Damn it. Avocado Diablo asks, if a beautiful woman wanted to have sex with you, but you had to pelt her with capers during the act so she should get off, would that be a deal breaker? Okay, let me just clarify. Oh, yeah, Kat's pastrami sandwiches are the bomb, too. Let me just clarify on this question. I'm going to read the question again because I probably forgot what it was. If a beautiful woman wanted to have sex with you, but you had to pelt her with capers during the act so she should get off, would that be a deal breaker? Well, if I were single and this was, she was fine as hell, the capers would just be like, okay, it's weird, but, whatever floats your juices. Selected Boy asks, if there was an animal that was extinct and you want to bring it back, what would it be? You mean of animals that are extinct? Or, if there was an animal that was extinct and you wanted to bring it back, what would it be? It would be kind of cool if you could domesticate a woolly mammoth. Be hard as hell to feed, but damn. Tasmanian tiger, someone says. Anyway, Ms. Wildwood asks, what is one thing you can say to your kids, wife, and employees on a farm that may be taken out of context when heard by the wrong person? On a farm. One thing that you can say to your kids, your wife, and employees on a farm that may be taken out of context when heard by the wrong person. Don't milk the bull. I see you there. Okay, I'm stuck. I don't know. I'm sure I'm not good at those whose line is it anyway questions. Let's roll in the hay. Or let's roll the hay. Okay, I don't know. Come on, chat, you're going to have to help me on that one. You can add those in the chat. Avocado Ciali says, do you say aloud like a normal person or out loud like a cretin? That's a good question. Well, there is the colloquial phrase, did I say that out loud? But in other situations, I might say it, would you read aloud? So there's a little bit, they're different things though, in a way. I mean, it's a different type of request. So I might use both. So I guess I'm both a normal person and a cretin. I hope that answers your question. Avocado Ciabi says, can you give a Trump-esque quote, but said in the voice of Marvin the Martian? Well, I think if you really want me to do that, I would have to think of a Trump-like quote. And it would not be, I will disintegrate you. It's a beautiful, it's tremendous, and it's, I don't know. Well, yes, it sounds like Kermit, but Marvin the Martian sounds like Kermit a little bit. Oh, that's more Yoda. Okay, all you critiquing my Marvin the Martian, which I haven't done in probably 20 years. The only thing that I remember Marvin the Martian saying is, I will disintegrate you. Anyway, all right, let's, good Lord. Everyone's a critic. Avocado Diablo says, how long do you think Nancy Pelosi could last in a stuck elevator before she started to detox? Oh, I think. Look, I think if she's more than 24 hours, her entire skin might melt off because she's got that plaster that's got to hold it up. Avocado Diablo asks, do you think if I started a charity for postmenopausal women and the logo for it was a blue egg, they would catch the insult? Dude. I'm not answering that. I'm married to a postmenopausal woman. Lord Stanham asks, what's your favorite thing to get autistic about? I pivot, by the way, World War II and the mighty Roman Empire. What? I'm not sure. I don't understand that question. What's your favorite thing to get autistic about? I don't know what that means. I can't answer it. Lord Stanham asks, who is the bigger embarrassment to their respective race? Jasmine Crockett or AOC? Now, I'm reluctant to say that anyone's an embarrassment to their race. Well, first of all, AOC is just a white girl from, from the rich section of the Bronx. Or what? Is she from the Bronx or is she from, where's she from? Yeah, she's from the Bronx, right? But she's not from the poor section of the Bronx. She grew up on the side of the Bronx in a nice little suburban home and nice cars and everything. And her family, had money and shit. But, yeah, why not both? Yeah, there you go. That's what I'll say. Why not both? That's a good answer. Lord Stanhope, is Tim Pool having a secret meeting with Netanyahu because he supports Israel or because he has a history of supporting frauds and criminals? Wow. I ain't going there. I'm not going there. I didn't know he was having a secret meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, first of all. So I don't know. I'm staying away from that. Oh, Mazie Hirono. Oh yeah. Jasmine Crockett and AOC don't hold a candle to Mazie Hirono being an embarrassment to her race. Because she's dumb as fuck. Anyway, okay. Lord Stand-Up, will you have a good weekend? Of course, always. Lord Stand-Up, in your honest opinion, why was the ATF taken away from Kash and Carrie Patel and given to the Army Secretary? I have no idea. I haven't followed that story at all, so I got to look that up. A good person to ask about that would be Cannon, because Cannon's a gun dude. I think that would be a good person to answer. Shrapnel asks, if you can't get an ID because you're not smart enough to figure out that out, wouldn't that disqualify for you from voting in the first place? Well, that would be the good theory. Avocado Diablo, what is your favorite hot sauce? Oh man, that's tough because my go-to, just buy it off the shelf, is Crystal hot sauce. I like that. I love Frank Red Hot. It's really good. There's one called, what's that one that I just had called? It's made with Fresno red peppers. Anyway, I can't think of the name of it. And there's so many hot sauces out there now that it's tough. Frank's Red Hot is kind of the go-to, especially if you're making buffalo wings. But for some reason, I like Crystal. And Louisiana is a good brand too. But I got hooked on Crystal when I was down in New Orleans because every restaurant had Crystal. So there you go. Some people like, Cholula, that's pretty good too. Not my favorite though. I like the more the more southern style hot sauces. So there you go. As opposed to Mexican style hot sauces. Don't know. It was Kash was only temporary. Yeah, it was a temporary position, so I don't think it was anything nefarious that he got stopped doing that. Resolute Germ asks, how can I get $3K quick without breaking the law? Depends on what you mean by quick. I made pretty good money when I used to flip furniture. Like you go to Facebook or Craigslist and people just give shit away. And sometimes you refinish it and sell it. Or sometimes some things they give away shit because they're trying to move or whatever, and they give away some really nice stuff, and then you go sell it on Craigslist or Facebook, and somebody buys it. So that might be a way. Let's see. Avocado Diabli, which is a better number to call for a good time? 6060-842 or 867-5309. The latter. Avocado Select Boy asks, would an apple a day really keep the doctor away? No. No. It's the fiber may stop you from getting one type of thing, but it won't stop you from getting another. Avocado Diabli, which circle of hell would you rather end up in? The third. What? Lord Stanhope, what horror movie still scares you? Okay, so I was the only horror movie that really got to me when I was young was a movie called Burnt Offerings. And I don't know why. It was just, there was something really super weird about it. And you may have never heard of that one, but Kara Soldier, do you think Democrats would ever admit to their soft bigotry of low expectations? Oh no, they thrive on that. They thrive on that. That's their whole spiel is to scare you into, yes, Oliver Reed with Karen Black. Yes, Lord Stand Up, you know which one I'm talking about. They have to scare you. So they are so intent on scaring you that their low expectations becomes insulting. And so, but they think it works, so they'll keep doing it. Lord Stand Up, I'm about to spend $300 on meat tomorrow. What would you recommend? Well, I'm a beef guy, so I mean, I would buy if you can buy a couple good chuck roasts, and you can cut them up into chuck eyes and Denver steaks. Maybe buy a whole brisket. You can cut that up into several pieces, or just buy a bunch of porterhouses. I don't know. Of course, none of that's going to go very far these days, but still. Avocado Sally, in your opinion, where is the best place for your average church? Wait. I'm sorry. I just got... Okay, I'm going to try to ask this with a straight face. In your opinion, where is the best place in your average church for a quickie? Good God. Confession booth? I don't know. Let's see. Avocado Siabli. If a beautiful woman wanted to have sex with you, but you had to be coated in the blood of 1,000 salmon so she could get off, would that be a deal breaker? Yes, that would be a deal breaker. Avocado Siabli asks, what Neil Diamond song would make the best track to play over the loudspeaker during an execution? Oh, probably Cherry Cherry, but only because it sounds a lot like Rockin' in the USA. And, you know, it would be a great scene if you were, I mean, if it's a movie scene, you know what I mean? Like if it's a slasher film and then you have that movie, that plan, it'd be kind of, you know, kind of have the feel good song of Cherry Cherry, but it'd be like, really ironic because you're witnessing an execution. So there you go. Lord Stand Up, if Kermit fought Grover, who would win? I think Grover would kick Kermit's ass because Grover has lived a life of all kinds of punishment, always falling from the sky with a super Grover, and you know he gets beat up all the time. So he probably has a high pain threshold where Kermit's just a little bitch. Anyway, Ms. Wildwood asks, if you could eat one thing that has multiple meanings, what would that be? If you could eat one thing that has multiple meanings, what would that be? Eat one thing that has multiple meanings. You're making this tough here. You're making this tough here. If you could eat one thing that's GDSOB. Eat one thing. See, I was going to say a banana, but no, because then that's weird. Grapefruit? Does that have multiple meanings? I don't know. That's close enough. I don't know. I have to think about it. Anyway, Avocado Stiabli, is this the penultimate question? No. Avocado Stiabli, is this the ultimate question? No. And finally, the last question of the day on Friday, Q&A. I can't even believe I'm going to read this. Avocado Stiabli, the king of the weird questions. If you were going to serve Tammy Duckworth her own legs, how would you prepare them and what would you include as sides? Slow roasted on a spit. And the sides would be the other, probably her toes. I don't know. That's a terrible question, and that's the end of Friday Q&A. God, that was awful. Where do you come up with this? Sometimes it makes me sad. But anyway, that's it. We'll be back on Monday, of course. Here are the links for today. We'll drop those in the chat real quick. Oh, I got to get rid of that. Why is this not working? Come on. My computer's slow today. Whew. I'm reeling a little bit over that last question. That's so bad. It's I don't know. I can't do that. There's copy. All right, guys, here's today's links. Links from the show, including the aggregator from Ace of Spades blog. Hope you enjoy that. You all have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday, same time, same channel. And, I can get rid of the Friday Q&A now. Let's end that shit before anyone asks any more questions. Have a great weekend. Got to go. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.